Hello, this is Pete, your Kenshin1913, along with
Mom.
And this is another Cooking with Kenshin1913, Thanksgiving edition. What are we making today?
Stuffing.
Meat stuff. No, wait, what is it called?
Meat stuffing.
Meat stuffing.
Okay, these are our ingredients. We're going to put chopped meat and sausage. I'm using a hot sausage, so it's got a little bit of hot pepper. If you don't like it to be on the hotter side, and this is not really hot, it just kind of adds a little bit of a kick. You can use sweet sausage. Then we're going to have bread cubes, which we have some Italian bread that we cut up in cubes. It's kind of day old, so it's a little hard. You want it a little hard so it absorbs all the juices.
Yeah, also you can kind of use any bread that you want. We're using Italian bread. You can use white bread. They actually have something
called the stuffing bread.
Yeah.
But traditionally our family has always used an Italian bread.
All right, so what else we got here?
We're going to use eggs, parsley, salt, pepper, and Pecorino Romano cheese.
Okay, so let's
and an onion, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, so yeah, we also have this onion here. So let's get cooking.
So you want to have a good size skillet and warm it up.
Now this recipe that we're doing here is only half of a recipe.
This is even less than that. This is a pound of chopped meat to a half a pound of sausage. So that's the way you would do it. So if you had 2 pounds of chopped meat, you'd use a pound of sausage. On Thanksgiving, I use about a 3-pound chopped meat to a pound and a half of sausage.
Yeah, so this is actually the stuffing that we usually stuff inside the bird.
Now, what we're doing is we're taking the sausage out of the casing, and you just make a little slit down the side of the casing.
Yeah.
And take your sausage meat out. Now, at this time of the year, a lot of grocery stores will just sell the sausage just in a package without the casing, so that makes it easier for you.
And what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, so this is the stuffing that we usually put inside of our bird. I figured we should show you how we make it in case you want to try making a different stuffing. And it's actually very good if you just put it on the side too, like if you just bake in a casserole dish, which we're going to do for this one. And then finally, it would actually be very good with stuffing muffin as well.
That's one of our episodes.
Yeah, that was last Thanksgiving. This is our, I guess, 2014 version. And then you're gonna if you can put all of it in, right?
Yeah. No, I do my sausage first.
All right. So
I'm gonna break it up.
Yeah. And so what? You don't need any oil for this, huh?
No, because sausage has oil in it.
Yeah. So what we're going to do, I guess, is just cook that down, right? And then come back when we need to throw in the chopped meat, or...
Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to get this brown, and then I'm going to throw in half of my onion and let it cook together. Then I take this out, put it into my bowl, and then do the same thing with my chopped meat.
So we'll be right back when we throw in the onions.
Okay, here we are. And I've broken all of this up with, actually I took a fork and, kind of smashed it around. And as you can see, it's got a little bit of oil because it's cooking out of the out of the sausage.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take half of my onion.
Yeah, we're using one large to medium size onion.
This is a large to medium. Now when I do my big stuffing, I probably put a real extra large onion and a half. So
now we're just going to kind of let the onion sweat a little bit. What are we doing
here?
here?
Just going to let it kind of get the flavor and let the sausage finish cooking.
And one thing you want to do is get your oven preheated to 350 degrees. See, the nice thing about this stuffing is that it's...
Now, if you're not using your stuffing, like let's say you just wanted to cook this now, and you're actually going to be having your dinner tomorrow,
Yeah.
you can just put your stuffing in your casserole dish and then bake it tomorrow. So you, excuse me, you don't have to bake it at the same day because everything's really cooked.
Yeah. Now, where did you learn how to make this?
From my mother and my grandmother.
Ah, very nice. Why don't you tell, while we're talking about Thanksgiving, I guess, and stuffings, why don't you tell them the story about when you were in Italy that one time for Thanksgiving?
Oh, I was on my honeymoon.
Yeah.
And we were there for Thanksgiving. And in Europe, at least at that time, most people did not eat turkeys. They had turkey parts, but not like a whole turkey.
Mm-hmm.
So we had been traveling around and then stopped at your father's house. His brother was there. So I said, oh, I was going to make turkey, Thanksgiving dinner because, of course, Thanksgiving is an American holiday, not an Italian holiday. So here I'm pouring this in here.
Yeah, you want to make sure you have a nice big bowl because we're going to be putting everything in as we incorporate everything and mix it all about.
So anyway,
now we're going to throw in our chopped meat.
Your dad sent your uncle out to the grocery store.
Yeah.
To pick up a turkey, and he comes back and he has 2 turkey giant legs. And I started crying because I said, this is not a turkey, and I don't even like legs. So then your father sent him back out to the store and he bought like a roasting chicken.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like a turkey.
Yeah.
And so I made this stuffing. And he had gotten me sweet potatoes and vegetables. The only thing we didn't get was cranberry because that was also something very hard to find over there at that time. And I didn't actually make an apple pie, but I made like an apple cake. And so we had our Thanksgiving in Italy.
That sounds pretty interesting. Now, what kind of sweet potato did he end up using? Did he end up using a white sweet potato?
No, they actually had the orange sweet potatoes. They call them patate americane. And they don't really eat them over there either. They put them in water and let them sprout.
Yeah. Interesting. That's pretty funny. Actually, one funny thing about my dad is he really doesn't like to eat many orange things. You know, he's not a huge fan of pumpkin pie. Doesn't eat yams and sweet. Well, he doesn't really.
He eats sweet potatoes, but there's another kind of sweet potato that's a white sweet potato, so it doesn't have an orange flesh to it.
Yeah.
You can get those in the store as well. You'll see them in lots of markets near the regular sweet potatoes.
Yeah. So I guess we'll let this brown and then we'll throw in our onions.
Yeah. All right. Here we are with our chopped meat all done.
Yeah, now we're going to throw
in
in
this
our
has
onion.
a lot of juice in it.
Yeah, it's not a lot of water.
Which is fine because all of that bread is going to soak up the juice.
Yeah.
So I'm putting the rest of my onion in here.
Now we're just going to let these sweat just like we did with the sausage. So just thinking about Thanksgiving, it's kind of interesting. You know, another tradition we usually have is back when we were kids, my mom and pop, of course, would buy us those Pillsbury cinnamon buns. And that would be one of the only times of the year that we would actually get to have the cinnamon rolls. And we would make them, or well, they would make them for us because we would always want to watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And it was a lot of fun. So why did you end up doing that anyways?
We used to do that because I was busy. We always had, family over for the holidays, so I was busy preparing more food.
Yeah.
Cooking the turkey and, just getting ready. And the kids all wanted to watch the Macy's Day, so instead of making like a big breakfast, we'll make something that's you know, good and that they can take and eat in front of the TV if they wanted. So we ended up, and that's become a tradition in the family that we make cinnamon rolls on Thanksgiving morning.
Yeah, my brother and sister moved out of the house, and they've kept up that tradition, which is pretty nice.
Right.
You know, we were never big football fans, like watching the football game. We never used to do that. Like on Thanksgiving, they always have the game. We never used to watch that. But what about another tradition? I was just thinking about it, that stuffing bread I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Didn't you guys used to cook it?
We always bought a couple of extra loaves. And because that's not sliced, the stuffing bread, so you have to slice it yourself. So it's kind of like, you know, a homemade bread.
Yeah.
And so we would always cut that and toast it and put butter and jelly on it.
And they only sell that bread
only near Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So
it's the only time you can find it.
Is this pretty much set?
This is pretty much set.
Alright.
So we're just going to finish this and then put it in our bowl with the sausage.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Putting this in.
Now we've got our sausage, we've got our chopped meat, and we've got our onions. All in there. So, remember that this is pretty hot, so you gotta make sure not to burn yourself. But so what's the next step?
We're mixing it all together. Now I'm gonna put my parsley in.
Now how much parsley?
Now see, this is hard because I judge, and I'm sorry.
It's a lot. It's like maybe a quarter of a cup.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're making a lot of it, you know.
And of course, the more you're making, so you want to be able to see it. Do you see that? That's perfect. So you want to be able to see it. Okay.
And not get stuck under all the meat.
Yep. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. You don't have to add a lot because your cheese is going to have salt in it, so that's going to give a salty taste as well. I'm going to put in
a pepper.
Some pepper.
Why, that's just the perfect amount of pepper, girl. So I would probably say like a teaspoon, maybe more. I'll try to get the proper things in there. A lot of these recipes you gotta kind of gauge.
All right, then we're gonna add our cheese, and probably about a half a cup.
Yeah.
For this. Now remember, this is only a pound of chopped meat and a half a pound of sausage.
Yeah.
So if you're making a bigger recipe, of course you're gonna add.
Now let me ask you this: with this stuffing here, what size bird do you think you could fill this stuff? Like if we were making this amount of stuffing for this, how much?
Probably like a 12 pounder.
Okay, I'm just wondering. Yeah, because we usually have at least 10 to 12, maybe 15 people.
All right, now I'm going to add a little bit of my bread. And the other thing that I'm going to get is a cup of water.
Yeah.
And the water's going to be kind of on the tepid side, not cold. Because you might have to add a little bit into it.
Yeah. And eventually you're going to have to get your hands a little dirty, right?
Not so much here. And then I'm going to add my eggs. Now with this, I will probably add 3 to 4 eggs.
Yeah. And how many eggs would this? So you would use about 3 to 4 on this, and then like if you're making a big batch.
Usually in my big batch, I put about 6.
Damn.
But I also remember I put a little bit of water if it looks like the bread is not getting soft enough.
Yeah.
Because this is really kind of a bread stuffing with meat. And we call it meat because it has meat in it.
Yeah.
But it's almost like a half and half.
Yeah. So we're breaking some eggs, and kind of reminds me almost like if you were doing like a weird type of meatloaf. You know what I mean? Well, no. Yeah, meatloaf, because you put in onions in the meatloaf and not garlic. You need another one?
Not yet. You gotta keep judging.
Yeah. Now, yeah, you got, since you're a pro at this, you gotta kind of tell us what are we looking for?
Well, you want
to make sure that
can you see your bread is all coated? That's what we want. We want the bread all coated.
Yeah.
So you don't put it in all at once.
Mm-hmm. And usually we would, you can use your hands for this if you want. Probably cool enough, but yeah, you usually get your hands dirty with this recipe. And
when you're stuffing it, yeah.
Yeah, when you're stuffing that bird. And that's the beauty of this stuff.
The other thing with this too, you know, some people will use prepared bread stuffing.
Mm-hmm. You could do that
you know,
too,
there's
right?
several, but now you're not going to get these chunks, remember? Yeah. You know, so that's nothing hard about chopping your bread up.
Yeah. Could you use like well, I know that this would change the recipe. I was gonna say, could you like put in beef broth or something?
No.
No.
No. You could put, if you didn't want to use, now I'm just going to add a little drop of water in here.
Yeah. Because we still have some bread left there.
Yeah. You could use maybe some chicken broth if you wanted to, in place of the water.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Chicken broth, because you would be stuffing this in a turkey or whatever. But I was thinking, just because this amount of stuffing is not actually going to be going into
I'm going to add
bird.
my fourth egg. See?
Okay. Well, no, I was saying that even though this stuffing's not going into a bird, it you can add beef broth, maybe give it a little more flavor or something. But no, it looks pretty good. You don't mess with a
No.
classic.
This we all love this here.
Yeah.
Where you really can't get enough of it. People just sometimes eat more of the stuffing than of the turkey.
Now this would actually be a terrific stuffing muffin if you just made this recipe right here and then put them in like muffin pans, right?
Yeah.
It'd be very good.
So I'm going to add again a little bit more of the water because I want that bread to soak.
Yeah.
Okay, now here we are almost at the final product. You want this, you could add a little bit more of either water or your broth because you want this to be a little bit on the wet side. Not that you're going to have any juice in the bottom, but you want it to be on the wet side because you're going to be baking this and it's going to dry out some. So you don't want it to be like sawdust.
Yeah.
But you could see how the bread now has gotten soft. Okay, and that's what you want.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think you said you try to use day-old bread because that really helps soak up stuff.
Yeah, you can leave your bread out overnight. If you wanted to use American bread, like some people maybe want to use wheat bread in here. Just leave it out, let your bread dry out.
Alright, so we've greased this, no, we haven't greased this casserole dish. You really don't need to, so we're just going to dump this in here. Make sure to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And we're going to put this in there, right? Until it's pretty much golden brown. And the longer that you keep it in there and let it get crispy without burning is good.
What I also do is I put a couple of pats of butter on the top.
We'll show that.
Before I bake it.
So yeah, all you got, and of course if you were stuffing the bird, you'd shove this up its a-hole, its hindquarters, and its
his neck,
and his gullet too. So you just want to keep putting all this in there, and don't be afraid to pat it down either.
Okay, as you can see, I'm putting my pats of butter on there.
Yep. And yeah, this is what it looks like in this nice casserole dish, thanks to my aunt.
Alright, and then we're going to put this in the oven.
And then
it's probably going to cook for about half hour, 40 minutes, maybe even an hour. Because you want this to be nice and crunchy on top, brown.
Plus the only thing that's really raw in this whole thing is actually the egg. So it shouldn't take too long to cook. But like I said, the browner, the better. It's going to be crispy and delicious. Okay,
here we are with the final product. It was in the oven for about 45 minutes at 350 degrees. And it's pretty well the way we want it. As you can see, all the bread is crusty on top. If you like it a little darker, you can leave it in a little bit longer.
So let's eat.
Okay. Okay, here we are.
We got our stuffing here, or as some people like to call it, dressing. And yeah, it's delicious. I don't even need to be like, this is going to be good.
I'm going to put this down because it's very heavy.
Yeah, go ahead. It's hot.
And hot.
Mmm. Sausage and the meat and the bread is crunchy. It's so good. This reminds me so much of Thanksgiving. I love it, love it, love it. Mmm.
Now you just need a little gravy and some cranberry on the side.
Oh, yeah.
Right in a sandwich.
Oh, yeah. Open face. This is even better left over the next day.
Yeah, yeah.
So, this is something that you can try if you're trying a new recipe for stuffing if you want. Sometimes you can't change the original.
Now everybody has their favorite, but it doesn't hurt to try different ones.
Yeah. So this has been Pete, or Kenshin1913 along with
Mom.
And this has been another Cooking with Kenshin1913.
Enjoy and happy eating.
And happy Thanksgiving.